The Young Mother and the Mustard Seed. A Lesson in Impermanence. Once upon a time, in a small and peaceful village nestled among rolling hills and green fields, lived a young mother named Kisagotami. She was known throughout the village for her kind heart and gentle nature. Her days were filled with joy and contentment, for she had a precious son whom she loved more than anything in the world. This child was her light, her hope, and her everything. Kisagotami's love for her son was boundless, and she cherished every moment spent with him. But one fateful day, a shadow fell over Kisagotami's happiness. Her beloved son, who had always been the picture of health and vitality, fell gravely ill. Despite Kisagotami's best efforts to nurse him back to health, his condition worsened. She called upon healers and tried every remedy known to her, but it was all in vain. The illness was relentless, and soon her dear son took his last breath. Kisagotami was plunged into a depth of sorrow she had never known before. Her heart shattered. She could not accept the harsh reality that her son was gone. In her overwhelming grief, Kisagotami refused to let go of her child. She carried his lifeless body in her arms, wandering through the village, her eyes filled with tears, her voice trembling as she pleaded for help. "Please, someone, anyone, help me bring my son back to life," she cried out. The villagers, moved by her profound sorrow, gathered around her. They too felt her pain, but they were powerless to change the course of nature. In their compassion, they suggested that she seek out the Buddha, a wise and compassionate teacher known for his extraordinary wisdom. Clinging to the hope that the Buddha could perform a miracle, Kisagotami set out on her journey. She traveled a long distance, her steps heavy with grief, but her heart holding on to a sliver of hope. Finally, she arrived at the place where the Buddha was teaching. She approached him, her face etched with sorrow, her arms still cradling her child. With a voice choked by tears, she pleaded, "Great teacher, I beg you, please bring my son back to life." The Buddha looked at Kisagotami with deep compassion and listened patiently to her story. He could see the immense pain she was in, and he knew the depth of her suffering. The Buddha listened with empathy, and then he gently spoke to Kisagotami. "I can help you, but first, you must do something for me. Go to the village and bring me a mustard seed from a household that has never known death. With that seed, we shall find a way to bring peace to your heart." Filled with hope once more, Kisagotami thanked the Buddha and set off immediately on her quest. She believed that surely, in her village, there must be at least one house untouched by the sorrow she was enduring. Kisagotami went from house to house, knocking on doors and asking for a mustard seed. Each family she visited was willing to give her the seed, but when she asked if they had experienced death in their household, the answer was always the same: "Yes, we have lost someone dear to us." Each story of loss echoed her own pain, and slowly, Kisagotami began to see the truth of the Buddha's words. As she continued her search, Kisagotami spoke to many families and heard countless tales of love and loss. It became clear to her that death was a universal experience, one that every family had faced. No house was free from the shadow of impermanence. This realization began to change something deep within Kisagotami. She started to understand that her suffering was part of a larger human experience. With a heart now heavy with the wisdom she had gained, Kisagotami returned to the Buddha. She came back empty-handed, without a mustard seed, but carrying with her a newfound understanding. She bowed before the Buddha and told him of her journey, of the families she had met, and of the universal sorrow she had discovered. "I could not find a single house that has not been touched by death," she said softly. the Buddha looked at her with gentle eyes and spoke, "Kisagotami, you have now learned that death is a natural part of life. Every being that is born must one day die. This is the law of impermanence. By understanding this truth, you can begin to find peace in your heart and let go of your suffering." The Buddha's words resonated deeply within Kisagotami. She began to comprehend the profound lesson of impermanence he was teaching. Slowly, she realized that her grief, though immense, was a part of the natural cycle of life. She started to let go of the intense sorrow that had gripped her heart. Through the Buddha's guidance, Kisagotami began to find acceptance. She understood that clinging to her son's body would not bring him back, nor would it ease her pain. Embracing the reality of impermanence, she laid her son to rest, allowing herself to grieve, but also to heal. With time, Kisagotami found a sense of peace she had thought impossible. The Buddha's teachings had opened her eyes to the truth of life and death, and this new understanding brought her comfort. She no longer felt alone in her suffering, knowing that it was a shared human experience. Inspired by the wisdom and compassion she had received, Kisagotami decided to dedicate her life to the Buddha's teachings. She became one of his disciples, immersing herself in the practice of the Dharma. Her heart, once so heavy with grief, now found purpose in helping others understand and accept the nature of impermanence. Kisagotami's journey from grief to enlightenment became a beacon of hope for many. Her story spread far and wide, touching the lives of countless people. She helped others come to terms with their own losses, offering the same compassion and understanding that the Buddha had shown her. Through her, the teachings of impermanence continued to bring peace to many hearts. And so, Kisagotami's legacy lived on. She became a symbol of resilience and compassion, her journey a testament to the transformative power of understanding and accepting the true nature of life. Her story, passed down through generations, continues to inspire and console those who face the inevitable losses that life brings. And so, dear listener, the story of Kisagotami teaches us a profound lesson about the nature of life and the inevitability of death. Her journey from the depths of despair to the heights of enlightenment reminds us that grief is a shared human experience, one that connects us all. Through her, we learn the importance of acceptance and the wisdom of understanding impermanence. Kisagotami's story is a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the power of compassion. It shows us that even in our darkest moments, there is a path to peace and healing. By embracing the truth of impermanence, we can find solace and meaning in our suffering, just as Kisagotami did. As we navigate our own lives, let us remember the lessons of Kisagotami. Let us be kind to ourselves and to others in times of loss, knowing that we are not alone in our pain. And let us find strength in the knowledge that acceptance and understanding can lead us to peace. If you found Kisagotami's journey inspiring, I invite you to join me on my YouTube channel, where you can discover more stories of inspiration and resilience. Each story is a journey of overcoming adversity and finding strength in the face of challenges. Subscribe and be a part of our community, where we share and learn from each other's experiences. Thank you for listening, and may the wisdom of Kisagotami guide you in your own journey.